Hi, I'm Tommy,
Hi, I'm Isabella.
and this is our project over cognates within photosynthesis. And so for our subject, we chose science. Within science, we decided to have our presentation on photosynthesis, and then for our method/strategy, we decided to go with cognates. So the reason we chose cognates is because it provides a academic tool to aid the learning of ESL students. That way they can connect new vocabulary back to vocabulary they might have already learned in their native language. And so our lesson is most appropriate for ESL students at the intermediate level. This is because they'll typically have a high level of social and informal vocabulary knowledge, but a low level of content or academic vocabulary knowledge. And so cognates will allow them to connect their previous knowledge from their native language to English. And so the materials required for our lesson will be a plant, which we'll use to activate prior knowledge to get them set up for the activities and for the lesson. A presentation where we'll explain how photosynthesis works, what the purpose of it is, and how it has the conservation of matter through balancing the equation. We'll also be using a worksheet with fill in the blanks and questions about photosynthesis and how the equation is balanced. Our content objective will be students will be able to understand the purpose of photosynthesis in the plants and how the process maintains matter. For the TEKS, we chose Science 8.6e, investigate how mass is conserved in chemical reactions and relate conservation of mass to the rearrangement of atoms using chemical equations, including photosynthesis. For our language objective, we chose students should be able to speak and write explanations of the process of photosynthesis in English. And the English language proficiency standards we decided to go with were speaking 3.D, speak using grade level content area vocabulary and context to internalize new English words and build academic language proficiency. Writing 5.B, write using newly acquired basic vocabulary and content-based grade level vocabulary. And finally, learning strategies 1.E, internalize new basic and academic language by using and reusing it in meaningful ways in speaking and writing activities that build concept and language attainment.
A key language function that matches our language objective is the word explain, because kids are going to have to be able to explain and understand the processes and the chemical equation that happens over here with photosynthesis. And another additional language demand associated with this activity is vocabulary. Students can receive a vocabulary list, or in this case we have a worksheet with various cognates labeled all around, and you can scaffold this to where you provide beginners with more definitions and terms and cognates, and put least and less amounts as the levels increase to advance. Some of the visual cues that you can see are these boxes where all the kids would have to label all the terms in, and also the green cognates above, below, or beside the box. That way the kids who need this resource are able to see when what the term is in their native language, which in this case would be Spanish, and how they can translate it into English. Like for instance here, we have dioxide de carbono, which is the same thing as carbon dioxide. So students can be able to see that and be like, oh yeah, I know what that is in English, just so I can remember it and put it in the right spot. How is cognates a beneficial strategy for English learners as they further the proficiency? So using cognates as an ESL strategy is highly effective because it will build on your prior academic knowledge. It provides easier pathways to learn academic vocabulary and allows students to recognize cognates better and be able to make connections like they do here from the diagram to an equation and across further subjects with their native language and English. Okay, so for this worksheet, all the students really have to do is something pretty simple. They just have to go through the diagram and the equation and label all the right terms in the right boxes, and go ahead and answer these questions and explain them with a partner. And so another thing that we're going to focus on is the resources that we use today. So we use a diagram just to help us figure out these things for photosynthesis, and we use the TEKS website and the ELP's website. And that's it, guys. Thank you for watching our presentation with us today.
Okay, bye.